Good night, good night, good night. Welcome again, welcome people, welcome to the Sports Frenzy podcast. And from you see me on a Monday, you know what it's all about. We're here to, well, I'm here for now to review some EPL football that took place over the weekend and also some other sporting related topics that I'll discuss and hopefully I'll be joined by some other guys. If not, then you guys and I will ride along through the show. And one thing I'll tell you guys, let tonight be entertaining, man. Come on, you guys need to ask the questions so I can answer to them. So, all right, as we all know, over the weekend, there were a lot of matches that were postponed. We expected to see at least 5 matches, but sadly, only 4 of them end up playing. And just really want to look at it keenly first. First up, let's just say that Sports Frenzy was on fire on the weekend. I mean, we got a lot of the predictions correct. Kims and I said that we expected Arsenal to win and over 4.5 goals, and so said so done. They won, and there were 5 goals in the game. And boy, if you guys had followed us, your Christmas money would have been looking popping right now. You guys could just go out and buy whatever you wanted to buy, but I guess some of us are coward to actually take the risk and go ahead and put some money on some matches. I'm just going to go to the results quickly and then get into the matches. So, as I said, Arsenal won by 4 goals to 1 over Leeds. City again, we call that one as well. We said that City would have won and over 2.5. City won by 4 goals to live on Newcastle. Wolves against Chelsea was a big one that Kims and I, along with Emerald, who was in the comment section, said that this game looked a draw from way, way, way out. So we call this one, and it ended in a draw as we expected. So things happened, a lot of controversy, especially in the final game that we saw Tottenham took on Liverpool. A lot of controversial calls in that game, and people are still cursing about it, including the coach of Liverpool, that's Jurgen Klopp, is still cursing about that one. But I'll get to there eventually. But first up, as a matter of fact, that's where I'm going to start. So the referee, I think his name is Paul Tierney, if memory serves me correct. I stand corrected if I'm wrong. But this was a said referee that I don't quite remember if it was Man City that Liverpool was playing against sometime earlier this season, and I think it was James Milner who had gotten a yellow card already, and he made a challenge that he should have gotten another yellow card, in which the referee never issued a card, right? So he has refed in Liverpool's favor before, and also he has refed against them in this game. Well, not against them, because people are saying that he made some dubious call against Spurs as well. So it was just a match that wasn't refed properly. So Klopp was seen after the match cursing a lot, and the main thing that he was cursing about was that um Diego Jota was denied a penalty in the first half, and he's saying that it was a clear penalty. And also Harry Kane. This is one that I want to stick on, because personally for me, Harry Kane deserved a red card. That wasn't a yellow card tackle. That was a definite red card for me. And there's no better way to put it than referee just was not being how do you say it, fair in my estimate, because just like he went and he reviewed Robertson challenge and what's his name again? Emerson Royal. He could have done the same for Kane, who made the challenge on Robertson. He could have reviewed it, because had he done so, more than likely Kane would have seen a red. He didn't do that either. But before I get on, say Latta in the comment section. Good night, Latta. Owen Adlam, big up yourself, boss. I see Shem Jack saying that Arsenal won convincingly. I see Anthony, big up yourself, my bro. And I see Michelle, big up on yourself. But and there's Owen Green, big up yourself, bro. Well, as I was saying, the Kane challenge, that was a red card for me. It was definitely a red card. Kane came out and said that he himself thought that he won the ball. He said that he won the ball, but anything Kane say, I have to take with a pinch of salt. Just like he claimed that goal against the team. I don't remember who it was, but he claimed the goal, and it wasn't his goal. He never touched the ball any at all. So Kane can't be trusted in this situation. So I never buy that. And here's Owen Adlam saying that red card every day for Kane. I agree. And here's Michelle also saying that I agree. Could have been red for Kane. It shouldn't be a case of could have, Michelle. It should have been a red card for Kane, and he got away with one. And yes, he scored early on, and boy, Spurs were wasteful in this game. It was one of the most wasteful game you could have ever seen. And it leaded to ask some question that what if they had taken their chances? What would have happened? And before I move
Right.
on, here I'm joined by the guru himself, Rowan. I'm joined by Robbie, who called himself the professor. Um, I'm just on the Spurs game right now. I was saying that Harry Kane deserve a red card for that challenge. There's no way going to give Robertson a red card and Harry Kane gets away with that. What say you, Ron?
Good night to the viewers and big up Robbie. And of course Levon. Uh Definitely. There can be no qualms as to Kane warranting a red card. It seemed clear cut to almost everyone except Paul Tierney. And it defied logic because the thing about it, Levon, and we have spoken about this numerous times, there is obviously no consistency. Or we could say that the officials they are consistent in being inconsistent. Because there are so many challenges which mirror we all remember Paul Pogba's challenge when he came on in the fiasco against Liverpool and all that, right? But it really does not stand up to scrutiny. Although, as I told Kems last week, all managers they tend to make complaints because we saw Klopp, he was going on and on and on. But if he is being true to himself, he will remember in the game against City that Milner should have had. But I'm
I,
not
I, I
debating that.
mentioned at the beginning, I said it that if Klopp is remembering correctly, this was the same referee that ref that game against Man City that should have shown Milner that red card as well, and he didn't.
And the thing about it, guys, is that you could have seen it even before it happened because the ball was not within playing distance of Kane, and you saw that he was always going to be on the stretch. And I figured that he should have pulled out. But the thing is, it was quite startling, guys, to hear that because Kane's last red card was when he was on loan at Leighton Orient 10 years ago. That probably factored in because he has a reputation of being a relatively clean player. Because sometimes, when players make challenges, their reputation precedes them and they are booked based on reputation as opposed to what happens actual challenge. So he really should have warranted a straight red card. And with VAR in, that was a clear and obvious error on the part of Paul Tierney.
I agree, and I said it that just like he went over and he actually reviewed the Robertson challenge, he should have done the same for Kane, and he didn't.
Definitely should
So,
have.
but here's Owen Adams saying that Kane reckless, sprinting from 5 yards out, which stood showing, caught Robertson on the shin. If Robertson didn't jump, sure broke foot. It was kind of a career-ending injury. Yes, had he hit it, but happily for the player, didn't happen. No, Robbie, you saw Robertson challenge on Emerson.
Yeah, I would say, but I think the referee is being
Hold on a
inconsistent.
second. Hold on a second. So Shem Jack is asking a question on that. Do you think Robertson challenge was deserving of a red card? What say you?
Yes, yeah, both of them are red card challenges. I understand. I think the referee is being inconsistent or him just a cheat. Sometimes I wonder if the referee them really better in these games why they allow certain cards and certain goals to allowed and not allowed. It's inconsistent. It's one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of EPL because of the referee too. You realize 2018 World Cup there was no EPL referee, so you can actually look at that. So them either them a thief or them no good. One of them.
I don't agree with that, but carry on.
But the thing about it is that it's quite funny that Robbie went there, level one, because I think probably you know where I'm going. If you remember Robbie game at Pamplona with Barcelona and Osasuna, Gavi goes to clear the ball. Uh, he strikes the ball hits Sergio Busquets clearly on the arm. Busquets, to be fair to him, did, and it seemed quite belatedly. He tried to withdraw his arm, from the passage of play, the ball ended up at the other end, and there was Abde to score his first goal for the Blaugrana. And then it went to VAR, and because as all goals do, they go to VAR because also players were incandescent with rage because they were saying that they should have gotten a penalty. And then from the same passage of play, so instead of having the opportunity to score a goal at their at against Barcelona, the ball ended up in their net. And with VAR, and all, the goal was given. So Barcelona went ahead. Osasuna eventually got a point that they deserved. But I would not go as far, Robbie, to say that is the reason. I don't think you like the league, and I know you don't fancy the league. So I think it was long before the advent of VAR, because I've seen you on social media long before VAR was reality. So let's put that out there. But I understand the
And I'm going
frustration.
to beat it. I'm going to beat him in a run because his own team, Real Madrid against Cadiz yesterday,
I I
Casemiro
I
should
I
have seen red.
I will not go there.
All
I'm
right,
Casemiro
taking
should
the
have
all
higher
right,
seen
ground.
red.
all right. Here we go now. EPL referee are the most inconsistent referee. Can we put that? Can we put it that way?
They are inconsistent. I can't go around that. They are.
Very inconsistent. So it's me alone think
Well,
that. Well, remember, and the way they're inconsistent. 2018 World Cup, there was no EPL referee.
And I
So
tell you
them
that
are
you
them.
can't use that to judge it, boss man.
Why?
Mark Clattenburg was one of the biggest referee, and that man, if memory serves me right, refereed even Champions League final. I think he was at
he did.
one
But,
of the.
He did.
but
He
remember,
did.
remember,
He did.
Kattenberg. I was Kattenberg come out the last in our interview saying that he should have get a red card in the Tottenham and Leicester City
Yeah,
game.
he said it, but listen, Robbie, what you're not getting is that had
See,
Mark Clattenburg still been in England, he would have been at that World Cup.
we're
Remember
not
that
sure
one
about
give
that.
up EPL to go down Saudi Arabia, I think, so you can't really say that English referees generally don't good. It's
Yes.
not
Is it
fair.
ever,
You
is it
can't
ever
broad
good
brush
or
it,
ever
Robbie,
tea?
by saying that. Because Robbie, you're opening a kind of worms. And the thing is, if we go across all the leagues, Levon, and you and I watch all of them, right? I can pinpoint issues in Italy, in France. Many times we see some of the challenges which are allowed in Ligue 1 to they are almost bordering on barbaric. But the thing is, I know that Robbie doesn't fancy the league. He doesn't like the quality and all of that. So I think it's bigger than just an issue that he has with the officials. Even though his issue with the officials, it's a case that we probably could go along that line, because I think Kems will weigh in on it, and I don't think he will side with you, Robbie, because I think your team, Los Blancos, they have benefited before VAR, after
A
VAR,
lot of
from plethora
times.
of very strange decisions.
So Kims, the mode of the argument is that Robbie is saying that all English referees are garbage and that they are not good. So we're disagreeing with him by saying that he's putting out a broad statement as if all the rest of leagues referees are top notch.
I mean, Robbie, as you know, I'm coming in the right time because Robbie have an audacity to come and talk about English referees when, as um, as Rowan say, Real Madrid has benefited from. Not, we can't call that poor refereeing because that's an understatement. But sometimes when I watch a Real Madrid match and the calls that they're being given, you have to wonder if the referee have some money with them bet on the game or or whatever. The fact of the matter is, right? Like referee make mistakes, right?
You call
They're
it
humans.
mistakes?
What you mean? Yeah,
No,
I mean
you can't call it
they
mistake.
make they make mistakes just like you and I. Um, Again, I don't know if we're not talk about it already, but if we go back to the Liverpool and the Man City game, Milner should have get a red card.
Yes, we spoke
You
about
know,
that.
yeah, he didn't get it. And then now it come forward. Harry Kane's supposed to get a red card. I just saw them think about football alive. I just saw it get alive, and everything that should happen will happen. And we just have to just live with it. Would we want it to be much cleaner? Would we want it to be fairer? Absolutely. If it was Manchester United, would I be livid? Absolutely. But that's just so it goes sometimes. That's just so it goes.
Right, I agree. And here's Mitchell saying that bad referring up everywhere. Maybe we see more in EPL because it is the most to watch, but it don't look.
Facts.
That's
What me watch La Liga more, so many even understand why that statement is really. All right, Michelle.
that's
You
why
I
that's
will
why you
forgive
beat
you. I will
that
forgive you, Michelle.
so Robbie Rich, you want to tell me, say, did you watch a match today between Valencia
No,
and
I don't watch
Levante?
it. No, no, no,
Oh,
no,
so
no.
so when they say you watch La Liga more, you mean you watch Real Madrid?
Watch
No, I watch a
That's
Real
little
how it
more.
Madrid.
works.
No, but that's not because I watch that. That means I'm gonna watch where. I told them match when I watch.
No, but me just show you like the EPL, like people are watch Aston Villa versus Burnley. People are watch every single game. So
So my
He's a man
significant
amateur.
for me is still, people can choose to agree or disagree. So I'm not
Okay,
speaking for
boss.
nobody else but me.
All right, boss.
I say no more, Robbie. But as I said, Ron and I said it at the beginning that we expect your views to be skewed because they don't like EPL. So we don't expect anything different. But Kens, before it came on, I was telling the people that, yo, Sports Friends was on fire over the weekend, man.
Yep,
Arsenal winner over 4.5,
yep,
easy check-ins.
yep,
City winning over 2.5, easy again. And
yep,
the most mouth-watering pick that we made. That Wolves against Chelsea to draw. I
yep,
keep on saying it and I posted it on the Facebook page that had someone put $1,000 on these three picks that we made, they would
yep,
have walked away with a whopping $44,644.
yep.
Nice Christmas bonus that in a
Oh
boys.
gosh, man. Bro, for $1,000? What you mean, man?
Simple
Nobody
as
now,
that.
nobody now see our road and I give 44,000. So if we win 44,000, just after what we're seeing and what we believe. But the game's coming up again, people. So just look out again. Just look out again because the picks are coming in fast.
All right. And I'm going to delve into the match them a little bit deeper now. So your match play first run. Boy, since Gabriel Martinelli has gotten a run, I always call for this guy to get a run. This is a player that I have time for. He was on trial at my club, and for some reason, them throw him with say him never meet standards. But here he is getting the starts, and he has been the man for Arsenal. Yes, Smith will come on and do his thing, but Gabriel Martinelli is the man right now for Arsenal. So you can go ahead and talk about it.
Definitely, guys. And what was most heartening, obviously, Martinelli's performance will take the plaudits, but I think the all-around the team performance was very good. And when you look at how Arsenal was able to create clear chances, yes, they didn't take all of them. Set a Premier League record for most shots on target in the first half, 11 on target, if my memory serves me right. I think that was quite impressive. Odegaard starting to look more like the player that I think because he's now comfortable,
Thank you
he's
very much.
almost taking on the mantle of what he does playing for Norway. We see him demanding the ball, he seems more assertive. We know about his technical ability, but we're always worried if he had the mindset or he would go the way of Mesut Ozil because they're similar in terms of playing style and all, but it's heartening to see how well he has played. And Smith Rowe, you talk about him, he keeps on scoring. That was his big issue coming into the season, whether or not he would be able to start adding that part to his game. And I think that's very, very good. But it's a clinical performance by Arsenal. I think they set the tone early because if I'm not sure if you guys know, but Ellen Road, when they have all their supporters, it is said to be and I found this quite strange because I would have probably um figured that Galatasaray or Olympiacos or one of those stadiums or Signal Iduna Park at Borussia Dortmund would have been the loudest. But people in the know, people who actually visit these stadiums, have said that Ellen Road is the loudest stadium in across Europe. And I think Arsenal, we know of their troubles on the road. Yes, they're playing against a depleted team, but Kems always says it. And I can't see it any better. You have to beat who's in front of you. So yes, they were fortunate to play such a depleted, weak, and tired Leeds outfit, but I think they did what they had to do. I think the only blot that I would figure was the fact that they conceded a goal because I think they were worthy winners, and I think it sets them up well for the remaining games before the end of the calendar year. Because guess what? First thing in the new year they have to play against Man City, and then Chelsea's right after. So I think they need some confidence going into those games.
Um, you may mention of the goal that you guys conceded, and it just had to be that $50 million man. He had to do it against his former club. Why it has to be Ben White? Why? But Robbie, here and talk about your boy Martin Odegaard, and this is a player that he knew from Real Madrid days. I don't think Real Madrid gave him a fair chance. He went over to Real Sociedad and he was very good over there.
Very
Personally
good.
for me, he made the wrong move from the get-go going to Real Madrid at that young age. I thought he should have just waited a bit more before he actually just jumped. But he jumped and never worked out at Real Madrid. Now he's at Arsenal, and as Ron pointed out, over the past couple of games, the team started to demand the ball more. That is what you want from your number 10. You
That's the
don't
thing.
want to be there
That's what
static
normal
and
play still.
not making those moves between the lines or trying to find those pocket of spaces. So that is what he's doing now. So what do you think about the player?
I think I don't. I personally I don't think he's a fair try at Real Madrid. But when him do get a try, he play like him nervous, like him a play too much safe pass. Like one if me I do the pass the right or something.
That's
It
certain.
seem like this.
That's true.
It seem that way and seem timid. But when play for Norway and Saucy that they say, where's this other guy? Other guy? Now when I watch the game against Leeds, I can see the improvements that he want ball. He was one of the best players on the field. He demand the ball, keep Arsenal ticking. When Smith was
Who's in
playing,
fast?
Smith was more direct. Smith will fire shots and do some good, but him make
Score more
Arsenal
goals.
tick and cause more passes in the game, which that is what the other guy they want at Madrid. But for some reason, we never stage fright him catch or something. You never see that there. I don't know.
I think to augment your point, Robbie, when he was at Sociedad, I think the system that Aguachil had him under, because the thing is, we think of him as a number 10 guys, but when he was playing at Sociedad, he played more as a 8 because it mirrored the role of David Silva in his latter days at
Yeah,
Man City,
yeah,
where he
yeah,
played.
yeah.
You know, nowadays the 10 is almost out of style. So players
Aye.
have to be able to work without the ball. And the thing about it is that
Yes,
he is
yes,
he's able to play from a deeper position now, guys. And as Robbie rightfully pointed out, the difference between him and Smith Rowe. And I think long term, guys, I think don't be surprised if you see both Smith Rowe and Odegaard playing as eights alongside or slightly in front of a number 6, because I think they do have the work rate. And remember, football is going away from this old thinking where you have to have this hard man in midfield, because you really have to use the ball properly, right? So everybody
yeah,
is playing out. I have to play through the lines, and I think there is place for him along with Smith Rowe in a midfield 3 if Arteta should decide, because their work rate without the ball is such that they will force turnovers. So they don't have to be bruising tacklers. I think Odegaard just needs to keep this level up. And
focus.
Martinelli, I think at 7 million from Ituano, that was a steal and a half. You mentioned it, Levon, that your club had him on trial 2 times nonetheless, and he wasn't seen as being good enough. And Edu, I think it was a master stroke to get him for 7 million. And I think, as Klopp said, he's a talent of the century, because he has the pace of Aubameyang, and he has better link-up play, and he is
Yeah,
clinical in front of the goal. And he's versatile. And the thing is, we knew that he was a big talent, but the issue was that from that long injury, he didn't come back well. I called him out on social media that he had to show me this season that he
yeah,
was warranted off a place. And I think the fact that Aubameyang went off the boil, Pepe has been ostracized, Lacazette has
yeah.
forgotten how to score goals. I think his upturning form has come at the right time. And I think he can uh, deputize as our number 9. I've been calling for Balogun to get a chance. I think he still should get a chance. But I think the fact that Martinelli is so versatile, I think he adds another card in the deck for Mikel Arteta.
All right. This whole Brazil thing with Gabriel, I don't think he reached level yet because I don't think he reached Rafinha level and
Fast man,
Anthony
hold on a second,
level.
hold on a second. From I can jump back to man like Gabriel Barbosa, yes, he has been scoring down there in Brazil, but when I compare
Although,
the
No. Brazil won't
although
call him for a number 9 role. Brazil will call him for a wing. And Brazil don't play a wing for Brazil. He play number 9. And what evidence do we have to say that Gabriel Martinelli can play number 9 good? Arteta is trying a number 9 role. It's only every mute days we can say it was a number 9.
No,
So how
no,
we have
no,
to put him as a
no,
wing?
no. Remember the first season when he broke out, right? And he scored 10 goals before that injury. He was playing quite a number of games as the 9. So yeah, and the thing is, there was always this conundrum, guys, as to where was his best position. Some persons saw him as a left winger coming in on his stronger right foot. Some persons saw him as being the striker to usurp Aubameyang and to play in a similar vein, playing off the shoulder. And I know Levon doesn't really rate Barbosa because of what he did at Inter and flopped when
That
he
is
was
why
in
I say
Europe.
that.
But the fact is,
Oh,
guys, he has scored outside of Lewandowski, right? He has scored the most goals since he returned to Brazil. Yes, we know the league is weak, but you still have to play against who you play against. And here is a player who has re-enhanced his reputation. But I don't think he wants to go back to Europe, which is a travesty because at 25, I think he's now primed and ready now to show that he can
Yeah.
re- replicate the performances not just in Brazil but in Europe.
Can tell us the Brazil league not good and from me see Andres Pereira leave United and go down there perform. I can tell us the league not good.
Yeah,
Uh,
the
Another player
same
that
Pereira who caused them the Copa Libertadores, right? That one.
Him same one.
Yes.
another person for Arsenal we need to point out is a disgrace to La Liga. Party hasn't party for him come Arsenal.
You see, the thing about it, Robbie, is that Partey for me, he flattered to deceive even when he was at the Wanda Metropolitan. I'll tell you why. Partey played well in spurts, but there was no protracted period where he played well. And I think that probably has to do with the fact that he was used initially as a utility man, if you remember. He was playing almost everywhere, right? Play games
Yep.
at right back at center because he's versatile. And the injuries haven't helped. But I can't get away from 45 million. That does not look like money well spent because he has plotted to deceive. And in games, Kems will also agree that you have games where you need that player in midfield to grab it by the scruff of the neck. And he has gone missing
Yeah,
in too many games for
yeah,
me. And I think that's the issue because in a team this so young, Partey should be one of the leaders, nominal
yes,
leader,
yes,
along with
yes.
Xhaka because of his experience. And he has gone missing in too many games. And you find that the younger
Too
players
many.
have to be stepping up, which is a travesty because he's a player who's supposed to be in his prime.
Sure.
I like how we talking about his second team Arsenal though.
You
Well,
come
let's
back with
move
this. You come back with this. You come back with this.
on. Let's move on. The next game we saw Chelsea taking on Wolves and boy Kems, you tell him that champions elect my A Z Z Z Z Z. But let's point out one thing with Tuchel. Tuchel, I said it on the previous podcast now that from Tuchel came to Chelsea he has been using a three at the back. And I think the reason why he probably uses because for some reason there's people said that Thiago Silva has been their best defender, but he has to use it because Thiago is aging. So he has to have partners beside him to save those aging legs. And then so Jorginho is a little softy, right? So unless Jorginho has people behind him to back him, Jorginho will be overpowered in midfield, right? Now, you look at Chelsea. They went into this match with a lot of players missing. Why is it this man couldn't actually use his brain this time around and think and probably just say, here what? We're lacking here and there. Let's just try to tinker with the system. I said this man go as far as put Trevor Chalobah in midfield. I never know Chalobah played midfield. Well, at youth level last time a couple times, but he wasn't that sort of player. Why not tinker with the system and have Ross Barkley come in? Yes, he hasn't been the best, but man hungry right now. The man need to prove him worth. So why not switch the system, give the man a chance? Kems, go ahead.
Um, with Ross Barkley and Chalobah, for me, a six or one half does not other for me, really. So, if you put Ross Barkley there, then we could have probably come here and I said, boy, why I'm never start Kovacic or somebody else, But I just believe that again. I believe that from the start of the season, I believe this Chelsea team was overhyped. I remember a lot of times we say, okay, they have a second 11 on the bench, or probably even a third 11 they can get from the whole squad. And we have seen week upon week how this team has just been, underwhelming, underperforming, and they've got the chances, against Wolves. Again, I tell you no, great teams will find a way. Wolves was playing excellent defense against Liverpool. Liverpool find a way. And the great teams will always find a way. The teams who are not so great but who want to be great, they'll always find an excuse. And that is what I'm hearing from Chelsea. Oh, first the coach wanted the game postponed because of this and that. And I'm saying, I believe that Chelsea still had enough in order to put in a proper performance and probably get 3 points from the game. But um, I've said it multiple times, and I'll let Rowan go ahead and talk about it. But I've said it multiple times that this team is not champions elect. I've said that this team is not even in the space of the top two teams in the EPL because those two teams are way above Chelsea. Chelsea is looking at that team and say, boy, I really want to be like them. Tuchel is looking and say, boy, I really wish I could coach as great as these two. They're just the personnel is just different, the mindset is just different, and I know if if it was Pep probably coaching this Chelsea team, probably Pep could have get a result out of Wolves or one of them things. But I heard so much things about Tuchel and he's a top this coach, and when you're a top this coach and top that coach, I'm looking for, and again I've said this, if you need everything to be perfect in order for you to perform, your team is not that good to begin with. You have to be able to deal with adversity. Is COVID, is injuries, is suspensions. You have to be able to deal with that accordingly. And Chelsea haven't dealt with it well, and as a result of that, Manchester United is right on their tail.
Yeah, here's Michelle. For some reason, Man United hasn't been playing. Yes, Kim's in a Man United jersey, and I'm also in a Man United jersey. But why is it that these Chelsea fans and some other fans love to piggyback on Man United when their team is under the cushion? Don't do it. Leave us
Yes,
alone
no,
in peace.
Michelle, Michelle, we have 7 players available. Would you like to see 7 versus 11? So you can go and gloat, say, man, you get 11 and 12 and 30. Like, we only have 7 players to field. It's 11 players play football. So, as a result of that, we're unable to field the right amount of players. I am sorry that your team is not performing up to the standard. Sometimes, they say, if you have no expectations, you can't be disappointed. So I think you should, just set down the expectations just a little bit. Just aim for top 4 and not to win the league, and we know who we are and champions of Europe and all that jazz.
And what I'll say to Michelle is that, okay, Michelle, the Premier League pointed out that if you have 13 first team players available, the game will go ahead. If you don't, then it cannot go ahead. So Man United had 7 in one game and had 9 in another game. What are they supposed to do? Play with 7 or 9? I remember Benfica was playing against. I don't remember who the team was that they were playing against, and the team was only able to feel like around 9 players. They were like 7-0 down at halftime, and you know what happened after? They just called off the game.
Yep.
Save the
Hey,
embarrassment.
hey yo, I touch back in a class, so I go and listen to the show
All right, that's your
outside.
word,
Is
bro.
it?
Big up.
All right then.
All right, so before I touch a little bit further into Chelsea, debacle or whatever, and that, Michelle responding to Kim saying that I never said Chelsea winning the league. Anyways, Robbie, Chelsea, do you think that they really have what it takes to really get back up there? Because they have been falling off of the pace for quite a while now in the last 6 to 7 fixtures. Do you think they have what it takes, or do you think that this is it for Chelsea? Just focus on knockout competitions and forget about the league altogether. Just focus on top 4.
Ah, focus on top 4 would be the right way, yes, because Pep is a hard man to catch. And Pep a leader by that much is very hard to catch. Klopp tried that and lose it by 1 point. It's a very hard man to catch. So I would say it's all over till it's over, but they need to get something back in them engine and start it because they have been horrible. And one of the things I need to point out that in some ways I think people find out Chelsea. In some ways I can say that people find out Chelsea. Chelsea don't really have a standout centre back like that. That's what they play. Back three. And they not really have a good CDM what sit down there. So they play a back three. Tussle and that Lampard tried the back 4 thing, that's why he's getting embarrassed. Remember that. So you got that back 3 where in protect the back line and the defensive side enough ways. So he might get exposed. So probably people just take them chance when they get here against Chelsea. I think that's it.
Okay. Ron, what say you about this Chelsea team? Because I have a next thing that I want to ask
Uh,
you about.
they definitely have the players, guys. Let's get that clear. But as I mentioned in our previous conversation with Chelsea, I think the pace at which they play, it's pedestrian at times. The
Yeah,
boss possession, but they're just passing for passing sake. So there is no passing with a view
direct.
to break the lines. Yesterday it was obvious once Kovacic came on, you saw where, and it's not a fully fit Mateo Kovacic, but just the ability to break the lines, whether through passing or dribbling. I think they need to move the ball quicker. But they definitely have the players when you look at the depth of your squad. But obviously, guys, to compete against teams like Liverpool and especially Man City, teams that have basically been fine-tuned. And remember, these managers, they just add 1 or 2 players every year. but their system has been there. It has been tried. It has been proven. Yes, we know that Tuchel has implemented a system
All right, so Ron has jumped out for a bit, so I'm just going to read some of the comments that has been showing, and I didn't get through them. So here's Fabi Frana saying that new rules coming once you have 14, including academy players, they will have to play.
Yeah.
And yes, Fabi Frana also again saying that once COVID around, Chelsea will have a chance. Likewise, Liverpool City could have 5 cases or more at any time, so you will never know. All right, pick up back now, Ron, on the point that you're making.
Yes, so I think they have the players, but the tempo is too slow, and as long as they play with that tempo, they're easy to defend against. We saw in the previous game, the game where they created a good full of chances against Everton. Admittedly, for the first half, the tempo was quick and they created a chance, but they didn't take them. But I think one of the main issues, guys, that has plagued the team, even when they played against United, and Kims and I were back and forth because he said that they lost that game. I saw them with possession, but they didn't really create as many chances as they should have, based on the fact that they were one at home and
But
two because they had
yeah.
so much possession. And I think at home the
I
goals
wish
long
you
as
know I wish you were on that podcast tonight though, because Kems and I were here now. We're arguing against I believe it was Shakes and Dima. We're saying that had Chelsea played the better ball of the day, Chelsea would have won the game. They didn't. And they say, yo, foolishness, we are
they
chat
had
and Chelsea.
more yeah, they
Hold
had
on.
more possession, but the thing is but the thing is, guys, based on the style employed by both managers, you know that that United would have defended in a middle, sometimes a low block, and they would have tried to and United was going through a period where they would have taken the point, right? So you can't just use that to say that Chelsea played better because extraneous variables were at play. But the thing is, when I look at the tempo that they played at that particular game, it has been the theme ever since, where they struggle to create opportunities because they are not able to break the lines quickly and teams are able to recover. I think Kems mentioned the game with Liverpool. Sorry to divert for a second. I think Liverpool are fortunate because the injury to Ryan Aitnori was, I think, very instrumental later in that particular game at Malibu. Because remember, once he came off, um, former Liverpool player Hoover came on, and from his errant losing the ball upfield, Salah was found on a long diagonal and eventually played the ball into Origi. We know what happened to Origi with the 94th minute winner. But I think Wolves, even though I did go out on a limb, I said it tongue in cheek because I said it would have to be a case where Chelsea scores first. But realistically speaking, they are struggling, guys. There's no getting away from that. And I'm not even talking about the fact that they dropped so many points. It's about how easy they have been to play against. I think nobody basically fears them because yes, we will see possession to you, but can you show the wherewithal to break us down? And sadly, I think guys, read the back three. You see, the thing is, the back three can work because he has the back three not only to protect Thiago Silva, but it also aids in terms of build up play because they have more options when they're playing from the back. But the thing is, if Aspilicueta, I'll give you a scenario now. So you're playing out because remember, even though they started a back three, right? Their build up play will not be like that because they're going to stretch the pitch and Reece James is going to go forward. But I think an easy tweak if James comes inside like in the style of a Cancelo, so he plays inverted, then Aspilicueta because of his experience playing up and down the flank. Aspilicueta goes beyond him. So they have an extra avenue in midfield. So they are able to, and then James is dynamic. So he can break the lines from a central position. So he's not just, and we know he can score and he can go both ways. So there are many little tweaks that Chelsea can employ. They have the players, but I think he has to slide very, very quickly because if not, then he might find himself with a double-digit deficit looking at the tail coat of City because
But hear what though,
they are in such a
you know what I find surprising with them though? Remember that Alonso was criticized for his lack there of defending. No, even
yes.
when you look at Alonso since he has came back since Chilwell went down, you don't see that attacking input from him that you normally saw before. It's like non-existent
Precisely.
right now. So on the left hand side,
Precisely.
it's like there's no supply line for Chelsea over there. So one side is
And
basically
and
numb.
teams are doubling up on the right side now because you know that that's where all the attacking thrust is coming from. So they are doubling up. You saw second half yesterday. Reece James was even playing as the right-sided centre back, while Aspilicueta was given the license to go forward. But I think what James probably should have done, he should have probably advanced his starting position probably 10 yards up. So he would be playing almost in midfield because the thing is, Wolves did not carry such a large threat, and I don't think they needed so many out and out defenders because outside of Jimenez, Wolves, because we know Foden's wasn't really cutting it. Adama Traore when he came on didn't do much. So I think simple tweaks, guys, playing faster through the lines, taking a chance. I think they can arrest the slide. I don't see them being better off than third to begin with, but I think they shouldn't be so easy to play against. So I think if he does
Uh,
all of those, I think they can probably cut the deficit to the leaders.
So basically, you and I were on the same line because from the get go, I said that a blue side will win the title from
Yeah,
Manchester. Well, I didn't really say blue. First, I said a
I
team from
did though.
Manchester will win the title, and I wore a blue shirt tonight. So probably people had seen where I was saying, but I said Chelsea wouldn't finish higher than third. That was my prediction. But a player that I want to ask you about, I'm just shipping away. Well, technically, I'm still in the EPL because he's a player that is being linked to some EPL clubs. So this hitman over at Celtic, Kyogo Furiashi, steal off a buy for Ange, bought him for like 4.5 million pounds, and he has been creating waves upon waves after waves for Celtic this season. And he was the man on hand to actually hand them the cup on the weekend. And now you look at him. Which team in the Premier League you think that this player would be suitable for?
I'm thinking mid tier. He does have something about him. The thing about the Japanese, and yes, you said it was a steal by Postecoglou, the Australian born manager at Celtic. Because the thing is, he is able to go both ways. He can use both feet. He's technically sound. He offers the threat in behind. You're thinking of a steal. I'm thinking Jota. Not to be confused with obviously the famed Jota
That's the
who was at
steal.
Molineux. But I think Jota seems to be the player who by summer will be attracting all the suitors looking at Glasgow Celtic. But I think Furashi, he does have something about him. He's still very young, and I think a mid-tier team. So someone like Everton, someone because when you look past Calvert Lewin, Richarlison doesn't like playing through the middle. Uh, we know Rondon is long in the tooth. He was very good at West Brom, but he's now the wrong side at 30, struggling to put it at the top level anymore. So Everton, we saw where they had to bring in Sims because obviously Gordon is better from a wider position. So someone like Everton in that tier, I think would be a good next squad for the Japanese. But as I mentioned earlier, um, I think Jota is the one who will be the best thing coming from
I
Glasgow
like him.
Celtic
You know, when I took notice of him, I believe it was for Portugal under
under
21.
21.
Yes, that is where I saw him, and he was basically man for them. So I really like that player. And again, people don't confuse him with the man who came through Molineux and is now at Anfield. This is a
Anfield.
total different player. I believe he came from Benfica
Yes, he
to.
did. And the thing about it, level and quickly, the thing that impresses me about him is that his belief in his ability. When he just turned up at Hampden Park, the fans weren't taking to him because he would try all sort of tricks, step overs, and he didn't have an end product. But I think based on what he did in the Europa League, and they were in a very, very tough group. Let's not kid ourselves. They were in a group with Sociedad and they were also in the group with Betis. And I think they covered themselves. I wouldn't say in glory, but they did well based on who they were pitted against. And I
Yep.
think that was his coming out party. And since he laid down the marker there, he has just continued to show it. He has shown it at under 21 level for Portugal. Obviously, I think it's a stretch to get him into the World Cup squad in basically 11 months' time.
Never
But
say never.
I think post Qatar, I think he's someone who Portugal will look to because the fact that he is so comfortable going both ways, left to right, scores goals, he's quick, he's dynamic, he's tricky, and he's young. So I think he has a very very high ceiling.
Yep. All right, we're going to come back to the well. as I said, we're technically in detail because we're talking about players that probably be suitors for some EPL teams. But next up we saw Man City who took on Newcastle. Man City did what was expected of them. They got a rubbish team and they took them into the rubbish bin. Now, Robbie, when I look at Man City, I mean, Man City don't have a striker. They have been linked to Dusan Vlahovic from ever since, and that man just keep on scoring for fun. That's all he does. But I look at City. Do you think anyone can possibly catch him, or you think that City are just too good right now, especially Kevin De Bruyne rounding back into some very good form?
Remember, I stated before that when Pep is leading, it's very hard to catch. Liverpool tried that and go as close as 1 point. When they make City lead, it's very hard to catch. City team is playing well. Some players, what they claim say them want to leave, such as Silva, have to drop them socks and playing better. Sometimes players need those type of thing in them, so they push themselves to be better. Um, Anybody catching City? I'm not sure. Pep taking the lead is hard to catch. But they look like an aisle machine. 'Cause if you're playing with other striker and scoring too much goal and still manage to win, you understand? Remember, Pep, it's not the first time Pep is doing something like this. Pep believe in false nine. So, I mean, you don't really need a striker to win the league. So you can look at
Okay.
that.
But Ronnie, we talked about this before, and we said that Vlahovic should be probably the man that will give City that edge when it comes down to Champions League. Because as Robbie just said, City doesn't necessarily need a striker to win the EPL, and that's fact. They don't necessarily need that, right? But when I look at the Champions League now, that's where City has faltered for the past about 2, 3 seasons, where they need that poacher. Because City is a team that creates a whole lot. Vlahovic, that man is basically a poacher. Yes, he can score the spectacular, but most of what he does are poacher like. So you look at City right now, look at this player, they think that it's a match made in heaven.
I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a match made in heaven. The Serbian obviously has the requisite skill set to get City a hat full of goals. But I think City's faltering in the Champions League, I think it's bigger than them being without a striker. Because for a team that create and they have so many avenues through which they can score, guys. I think we will all agree that Pep overthought that Champions League final. He himself will admit it, probably not publicly, but it's clear that he did. He wanted so many ball players on the field, so it upset the balance of the team. And as a result, they just were out of sync. Because the fact that they did not create much on the day, on that fateful day, it says not because they didn't have a striker, but because the balance of the team was out of sync and all of that. But to answer your question, I think if they sign him, it looks like a win-win. He is still very, very young, 21 years old. And the funny thing is, when he was at Partizan Belgrade, he was a man who struggled to score goals. So it's not like he was pulling up trees when he was there. No, he wasn't. Similar in terms of Luka Jovic, because when Jovic just burst out, he wasn't doing anything. And I know he hasn't done the business for Robbie's team for various reasons. But in terms of a striker who was under the radar, then just basically exploded. Here we have Vlahovic, 33 goals in the calendar year in Syria. Yes, we know it's not the league that it once was. So let's not kid ourselves and say, oh, it's this league that's so difficult to score. But you still have to score goals. And there is nobody better than him currently playing his trade in this area. Special mention to Simeone's son, because the thing about it is that Giuseppe Simeone is probably not top level, but I think I'm playing for Verona. He has shown 13 goals
He's
in
okay.
Serie A for a team that doesn't create a hatful of chances. I
I
think
mean,
is
a lot of his goals are some spectacular goals
and
from 30 yards out.
I was getting there. And the thing is, he hardly plays 90 minutes because many times he has braces and he's hauled off with 10, 15 minutes to go. And the thing about it is that he, I think, has benefited from the fact that he has gone under the radar because he was under the shadow of his father. But the thing is, his brother, Gilano, who is on the books of Atletico Madrid, is considered to be the bigger talent, and here he is now showing the player who we thought he would have shown when he was at Sampdoria. So I think the move to Verona has been good for him. Sorry to digress for a second, but I had to mention because I've been looking at social media and I hardly see people mentioning Simeone. I think he's another good buy for a team at the lower end of the Premier League food chain. I think he guarantees the goals. You see, he's hardworking. He's in the image of his father. He's Argentinian, so he'll run all day. And the thing about it is that he has an eye for the spectacular. So, and he's robust. I like that about my strikers when they low center of gravity, robust, physical. So even though he's just 5 feet, 10, 5 feet, 11 inches, he throws himself around. So that's another good buy. But Vlahovic, anybody who gets him will be getting a striker at the peak of his powers.
Yes, it
So
seems as
Ron,
you averted and mentioned Simeone. I just have to give a little special mention to my boy at Sassuolo, Gianluca Scamacca. He has been
Skamaka.
something so far. So big up Scamacca as well.
And you know I rate Skamaka and Raspadori
Run that thing, your connection just went out. Robbie, you were about to ask a question. What are you going to ask?
no, he was saying something about Jovic. Jovic haven't getting the chance at Madrid though, because he's a really good player. Yeah, he was at the same club as Allah, right? That was there.
Ala and Ready, Charles, three of them played together.
Yeah, there was a like really good at
Yeah,
Frankfurt.
they were very good together.
Yeah, all
I
right.
mean, if you really look at it and actually analyze it properly, these three guys were fluent as a front three. They moved
Yes,
all over and they created opportunities for each other. So, I mean, Robbie, what I always say, is some of these players, yes, the club is big and all of that, but some players have to just look into themselves at times and say, yo, here what? Even though I know that this club is big, probably the move is too soon for me, right? And especially going to Real Madrid, knowing that Karim
Benzema.
Benzema is up there. Benzema, you're not going to use her Benzema. Benzema is Real Madrid for the past couple of seasons, right? So it was very hard for him to do that. So I think he
So
probably made
that's
the wrong move. Just like Malcolm. I criticize Malcolm to this very day for that stupid move he made. Malcolm should have been an AS Roma player. Basically,
yes.
everything
And
was
turn
signed
back
up
the player.
to AS Roma, and he took a jet back to Barcelona. And since then, his career has just gone down and down and down. Yes, he has been doing his thing over there in Zenit, but I mean, the talent that he had, he should have been way better than he currently is.
All right. You see that statement to make? That's why I questioned how long Benzema would be at Real Madrid. He's 34 to yesterday.
Kylian Mbappe.
How long? Like and them talking about Alan. If we're gonna get Alan, how long does Benzema go stay?
Let us
That's the
see.
thing.
It's kind of surprising though that they have kept even Luka Madrid for beyond the years because he's what 36 now. You know, Real
Yeah,
Madrid aren't really known for that because you know that Real Madrid love to ship out players once they reach a particular age, as we've seen with Casillas,
yeah.
Sergio Ramos. Yes, they offered him what a 1 year contract he wanted to, but he never
Thi-
got
This
that.
this this will affect Real Madrid, you know. The longer them take to find a replacement for Madrid, it will affect us. Because if you
Yeah,
get a player and if you don't click the same time, we are go down. Remember. So should have even though we keep Madrid, we should have somebody a
just they
shade
need a
there with him.
replacement.
So as him a get all our show about him the right there, so why the next man under
No
under the
restless man.
replacement.
You have a youngster in your academy that is coming through a midfielder. He is quite good.
We don't really want to watch youngsters with so much high expectation and so much responsibility, you know. That
So
also
you need
cause
a big boy. All right, hear what? I tell Robbie and you think I'm kidding. Paul Pogba will be a Real Madrid player.
I want to realize how Carl Slatti and Zidane have something in common. I
That
want
is,
to realize they like ball angles that works a lot. Not ball angle that dribble, and when they mean the ball, them have the ball, that's when they see them. That's one of the reasons why us we get.
Robbie, listen, Robbie. I don't business with you answer, Robbie. Paul Pogba will be a Real Madrid player. What the hell is wrong with you, man?
I go against it though, but no people will disagree with me, but
All
it's
right.
their mind to say.
Let's just wipe off the other EPL game that is on and then we get to some La Liga a bit. All right, so as we mentioned, we basically talked about the Tottenham Liverpool game, a game marked by controversy. People are saying that yes, when you look at it, Kane should have gotten a red card, in which I agree with. He should have gotten a red card for that. But for that Liverpool second goal, the argument has been making the runs, and from the game was being played, the commentators themselves said it, that they thought that it was a handball by the Liverpool player, and that was Salah. Robbie, did you see the actual play?
No, I never see the actual player since he even made them talk about this whole thing with Salah. I didn't actually see it, so I can't comment about it.
Okay. Ron, what say you? Thought it was a handball, or you thought that it was fair?
You see, the thing about it is that the argument has been that the offense took place last season, then it would have been deemed a handball. And you see, that is why we have issues with things like these, because there are so many changes affected season upon season. Because remember, when VAR came into effect, once the ball made contact with the attacker, it was deemed automatic handball, whether or not you deliberately try to gain an advantage. So with that said, if the rules have been tweaked, then that's why rules are tweaked. So you would then say yes, it was a legitimate goal. But the thing is, because many persons are still of the perception that the previous interpretation of the law, where once the ball made contact with your hand, and especially for an attacker in such an advantageous position, that it should be deemed null and void, and the player should go automatic dead, because there is Salah now getting the ball to his teammate in a position where he can go automatic dead.
Gone again.
So I think the fact that they to say that he has benefited because the rule has been tweaked, then I think we have to just say then yes, fair play to Mohamed Salah. But I think I don't know if I mentioned the first goal. I think that Liverpool scored. I think Ben Davis was cleared at fault. Tried to play the ball, intercepted the ball, which was kudos to him. But I think in his impulsive next action, trying to follow the ball, he left Jota. We know Jota, even though he's not 6 feet, he's brilliant in the air. So I think Spurs will be kicking themselves, because whether or not we debate whether or not that goal should have been allowed, they created so many clear-cut chances, guys,
Boss,
that they
I
should
was
have
watching that game.
been
I was saying that
home and
Tottenham
dry.
should have been at least 4-1 up at halftime. Kane got clear
But the
opportunities
thing is,
and
this
son, jeez.
fun and Dele Alli. But the thing is, guys, what this shows is that was the perfect way how to play against Liverpool. Because even though players were missing for Liverpool, that's how you have to play against them. Because you have to attack and you have to play vertical and play through the lines, or play over the press. Because once they're able to bypass the press, they play with such a high back line. Even later on, guys, when they were down to 10 men, Liverpool was still defending on halfway, and you thought it was suicidal. But that's the thing. And I keep on saying that these managers, they are going to stay true to their philosophy. So even with 10 men, even without Fabinho, without Van Dijk, there was Klopp away to Tottenham, and he was on the ropes, because Tottenham had, even though they had less possession, they were the team that was always carrying the bigger threat from the get-go. And here he was still believing in the system and still playing with such a high backline. So I think teams from now on, guys, will see this as an avenue as to how to attack Liverpool. And it was funny that Klopp came out in the post-match press conference to lambast the tactics employed by Conte. Like I'm like, but Conte got his tactics spot on, because 45% to 55. That I don't think that I think
That
Liverpool
doesn't much
didn't
different.
create, and I don't think Liverpool created much with the 10% possession that they had over Tottenham, because Tottenham created the clearer chances. Can't believe that Kane didn't have a hat trick on today, because such were his opportunities. They were glaring opportunities. Son should have definitely scored. But it shows teams the way how you have to attack Liverpool, even when they have their full complement of players.
And I hope that the youth that actually peaked before the age of 25 actually play some good football, because he was decent in that game yesterday. I'm talking about Dele Alli. He actually played decent in that game. He played a sublime
And
ball
he played
to
it.
Kane.
They're supposed to be superstar. They're supposed to be superstar, Daily Ali. They're supposed to be
He played with
superstar.
intensity, guys. He played with he played with intensity. The thing is, when you think about it, where he's coming from, Milton Keynes, a very, very unfashionable team, and to make such a big step, I think, based on how quickly he took to the league and how the tactics employed by Pochettino suited him at that age. I think, yes, he was overhyped, but there's still a player there, a player who can contribute. If he has his mind, he has the physical tools, guys. Let's not kid ourselves. Obviously, he's no world beater, but he scores goals, and those aren't necessarily on trees that we can on
Kind of
them.
breaking up us.
So we're always on the eye on the low. Dele Alli, I think he will always be one who will be knocking on the manager's doors if his mindset is right. And I think it was good that his intensity yesterday, guys. Even without the ball, it was one that showed that he wants to be a part of the team. It was heartening. I mentioned on the previous podcast that Ndombele or somebody who's able to play through the lines should be in the Tottenham team. I think he didn't disgrace himself yesterday. Ran out of gas second half and had to be pulled. But I think it was a good showing by Tottenham, and I think they can take some confidence, despite the fact that they will figure that this is 2 points lost as opposed to a point gain based on the balance of play. I think they will take confidence going to the next round of matches.
All right, so here's Fabi Frana saying that it was a handball, but the new rule states that if the player didn't score after the handed ball, then it's not an offense. Okay. Well, Robbie, we can now leave off EPL because we already discussed all the issues that took place at the weekend in EPL. So, quickly on your team over there in La Liga, you're running away the league, but boss, that was a slip up yesterday playing against the second worst team in the league and had over like 80% possession and like what 30 shots and still weren't able to find the back of the net.
It's one of
What do
those
you
games.
say about the side?
It was one of those games though. We didn't take our chances, and once you don't take your chances, the other team will always have a chance in the game. The next team didn't defend properly because you can't defend properly and concede so much shot. I have so much shot and target, but create so much chances and so forth. No, it's one of them days they will miss chances.
And they got a point, don't it?
Huh? I will get a point. So
No. I'm saying even though they didn't defend it well,
you can get a
That
point.
is,
That's
it's
part of
a
the game.
point.
That's a point of the game still. So it's one of them games. We're not going to overthink about that one game. But what that does now, if Sevilla win them game in and they will only still
3
by
points.
3 points. So it's time to drop our socks and don't make another poor finishing performance.
I think Sevilla has Barcelona. I think it's either tomorrow or Wednesday.
The two team that's really struggling. They went to
Sevilla
Champions
is
League.
struggling, boss. What are you talking about?
But they went to Champions League. Both of them drop out in group stages.
Yeah, but
La Liga team.
we're talking about the league right now, boss.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking overall. They're really struggling. But yeah, so you wouldn't mind that game draw. That's
All right,
my
so
view.
Farifana, we actually answered to this. Seems like you tuned in late, man. He's asking that if Kane should have gotten a red. Yeah, we talked about that, man. Straight red card that can't go around it. But Robbie, you look at La Liga this season, and some of the top, what we refer to as top teams, have been consistently inconsistent. For instance, you look at
I agree.
Atletico Madrid and those side, and now call Barcelona because Barcelona just not good right now. But you look at the table as it stands right now. You see Real Madrid up there on 43 points from 18 games. Sevilla in second and what 37 points from 17. Real Betis up there in third and 33 points from 18. Rayo Vallecano, surprising package. And backstage last night on the NBA show, we're talking about them a bit that. And I said to you that it's a former United flop who is actually leading them right now in Bebe. So what has gone off with La Liga this season?
Yeah, it can be mismanagement while some team is rebuilding. We can really say that some team mismanaged while some team are rebuilding. So we can't really pinpoint to say where it fall off. We get back here. I have confidence.
So you think
But
that
what I think might take a while to rebuild is Atletico Madrid. They have some players that they're not young and then continue using them. They might go far and they need to get rid of them.
like
Not like Philip them. Philip them not good. But Brazil my centre back, him no good. And then continue use them. And the next one, you are going to defend Jimenez, him keep getting injury every minute. Him can't play 20 games.
Jimenez was seen as the replacement for
Godin.
he was
Godin
as
and
the
Miranda.
one to step up for
Yeah,
Godin and all
Godin.
of that.
Yeah, but him have injured a lot, so we can't really say that. And Simon is a very stubborn person. Very stubborn. You understand? I could say that about EPL was a bugly a couple times where no side no make quarterfinal and so forth.
But I always say it.
Other
I
part
think
of life.
we're not surprised when you said that, Rabbi. We know your views on EPL already, so we take it with a pinch of salt. But
Honestly, I think EPL is in the top three, you know.
I,
So
dis-
I can't say.
I disagree with you, though. I think Barcelona is in a worse situation than Atletico Madrid because Atletico Madrid
No,
do have the players.
I did admit that. The only reason why I'm good Barcelona, they have youngsters that might turn up good with potential, such as Xavi
No,
and
Robbie, that is where you're wrong too. Yes, Barcelona has youngsters, but if you're going to say that about Barcelona, you have to draw the same argument for Atletico because your team it seems like they don't have any youngsters. Joao Felix is still young in the boss.
yeah, but remember that
Like
coach
it or
is
not. Hold
no,
on, man.
yeah.
Hold on. Joao Felix is young. Matthias Kuna is young. What's his name? Thomas Lemar is still relatively young in a sense, right?
We give up on him. We give up
But
on him.
if we're being honest, though, Ravi, Barcelona is in a worse situation than Atletico right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. But myself, I would
Don't
give them a blind
don't
to go up with
don't
the young.
agree. Don't agree with that assertion, Levon. I can't believe that you made that utterance. Let's look at. I know it's a small sample size, guys, but follow me. All right. Last two games Barcelona played, right? Yes, they struggled against Elche. They won 3-2. Let's look at the goal scorers. Ferran Jotla, right? Just plucked from La Masia. Was
Mhm.
actually bought from Espanyol. Uh,
Mhm.
who scored the second goal? Gavi. 17-year-old.
Mhm.
Yeah, we know how prodigious a talent he is. Let's see who scored the third goal. Nico. Let's look at the previous game. Abde,
But all right, hold on.
Nico.
Stick up in
So
though. Stick up in. I personally that Nico is average. I don't think he's all that like people make him out to. I
No,
think
no,
it's
he's
not about my
no,
potential, so
no,
we can't say
no. But the
about.
thing is, no. But the thing is, Levon. Bear with me. So, and then you would agree that the two high-profile youngsters haven't even featured much. Ansu Fati and Pedri, the reigning golden boy. So when you look at
Yes.
the talent that is available, right, and mind you, they have others because Patrick Kluivert, who is in charge of La Masia, has been touting Elias Akomach as being he's left-footed, so you know the comparisons with one diminutive
Messi.
Argentinian who played here for almost 20 years, Lionel Messi. So they have talent right across the board. I think the biggest issue, and I've always said it, and I'm vocal with this, guys, and I think you'll agree, the biggest issue for Xavi Hernandez will be phasing out Gerard Piqué and
Yes.
Sergi Busquets. Because the
Yes.
thing is, remember, he
Yes.
has been so close to those players and Jordi Alba
Yes.
because Alba
One.
can't keep fit. Alba is a bit younger, but and the thing is, the spine of the team, guys, it's so soft with those two.
Yes.
And then you find that
Yes.
Frankie De Jong has to be playing slightly. We know he's versatile, but when he did his best work at Ajax, you'll agree that he was playing in that deep line role. And once Busquets is still a fabulous passer, right? He almost has like 5 eyes. You can't get him off the ball. But the thing is, he can't do the things that he used to do. And we know he was never the most athletic, right? PK and the thing is, the team is not able to press as a collective. Barcelona during their heady days, they were never a brutal team from tackling, but in terms of pressing you, they could press you and win the ball back quickly. Nowadays, and we saw where
Yes.
Thomas Muller mentioned it, that they have the technical ability, right? They
Yeah.
are probably even more technically gifted than the Bayern Munich counterparts, but they can't play with intensity, and that's because some of the players are not able. They don't have the legs anymore. They never had it to begin with, but it's now being magnified because Father Time catches with everybody. So I think his biggest issue, but I think in terms of talent and in terms of players who can come in, Nico is no world beater, but he's still a good player. But the thing is, when you surround a good player, generational talents, he will look better than he is. And I dare say that in Gavi, they have players who have the talent to be generational if they develop on the trajectory that they have shown at such a young age.
But here what my take on all of this. One, Atletico is in a better position as a club.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
is
that
my
you talk
number
about
thing.
then. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, we
Two,
understand.
two, the issue that Xavi is going to face at Barca is that his loyalty is going to get the better of him because what did he do as he was employed as the manager? He went ahead, re-signed Danny Alves. So obviously means that he's going to pay homage to these dudes. He's not going to freeze them out totally. So there within it lies an issue. And another point is that it's because these youth are so young. Look at Pedri. They played him for 70 odd games. He went down injured. I pointed it out before he even played like 50. I said that they need to give this youth a rest. They didn't. He's out for a month now. Look at Fatty. They basically played him for a sustained period of time. Ever since he got that injury, Fatty has just been keep on picking up hinges after hinges after hinges. So that is the issue
And
that they face.
and you
Yes,
think
they're
that Gavi will
generational.
And that
and Gavi keeps on playing like 90 minutes and every game. So I understand what you're saying. And the same thing happened to Jack Wilshere a decade ago, where remember that season 11 and Robbie when he broke out and they were saying that he was generational and all of that, right? I didn't believe he was that good, but it's obvious that
it was
the
not
fact
there.
that he played so well on Arsene Wenger felt that he had to keep on playing, had to keep on playing. Well, guess what? I saw Jack Wilshere at 19 go toe to toe with the best midfielders of his
And I would play
of
them.
of this generation, and he looked like he belongs. So I'm not gonna say that he was generational or that, but the fact is, the parallel is there with what happened to Pedri, with what happened to because the thing is when you have a young player and he's playing so well, Robbie, you will agree that you keep on playing him because you're like it's so difficult to not play him because he's playing so well, but you have to basically
Nurture them.
sometimes we see that with Pep, where Pep
For
he
them.
will pull
Yes,
out
yes, 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 yes.
a Phil Foden, right? He
Yes.
will slowly easy in a Cole Palmer, right? I believe that McAtee is probably even more
McAtee
talented
is
than
bigger.
Cole Palmer. We
McAtee
haven't
is
seen
bigger than Cole
McAtee yet
Palmer. Not
proper,
even
right?
close.
So but but he's gradually being nurtured, right? So the thing
Yeah.
is, when you have these young players who are doing so well, regardless of the club, so let's drop the club affiliation here. We'll all agree that you keep on playing them, and they will get injured, especially with so many games being played nowadays, guys. It was ridiculous for Spain to bring to even have the idea of bringing Pedri to the
To
Olympics after
Olympics.
playing so many games. That was
All
like
right.
ridiculous.
My baller, Vinicius, I hope that he get rest. Got every single game the same play. Every single game. I hope them rest him.
But here what
They can't afford him
here the
injury.
difference though, Ravi.
I can't afford him injury.
Here what? Vinicius' situation is kind of different in a sense now because remember that at one point he wasn't getting any game time at all.
Yeah, but they start
This
give him
season is
yeah.
where this is. I get what you're saying that he needs rest at times. He does, but unlike Vinicius versus these other dudes, they were just put right into
I think he's fully developed, guys. When you look at Vinicius now, as opposed to when he just joined, right? You will agree, Robbie, that his game has matured.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
His body structure is totally different, removed from what we saw. Because remember that Rodrigo came in and usurped him, and basically he was yesterday's news. But I think he took the chip on the shoulder, and I think it has been to his improvement, and kudos to him because some young players they will take that as being something bad, but I think he basically came back a better player. But these players, when you look at Pedri, yes, he's a wiry player, but it was obvious that he was still growing into his body. This is a player who had played like 7 games at Las Palmas. Let's get that straight, right? So it was like he had played like a full season at Las Palmas, right? So you see, from the Canary Islands, he had just played a handful of games, and then he was thrust into playing week in, week out for Barcelona and played like 73 games. Ridiculous, like, if you ask me.
so even though I don't rate this person, I'm going to finish up his topic because I lost ratings for him totally. Yes, as a human being, I like him, but otherwise, I'm not. I lost respect for him as a coach. But I like what Ole did with Greenwood. Greenwood is seen as a generational talent. He played him, but he never just threw him into the mix.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Took his
yeah,
time
yeah,
to ease
yeah.
him in, and gradually you see the improvement in Greenwood because from when Greenwood came on the scene versus now, you saw that his body bulked. You see the obvious body strength in upper body strength generally got bigger. even his game got better. Because when Greenwood
Has
just came in, all
improved.
Greenwood was just run at people and do what he had to
It's
do.
more refined,
Yes, no,
And
Greenwood is doing all the play and all of that.
I'll use the example
I
of
agree.
Usman Dembele quickly, guys. When Dembele burst on the scene, in that half season at Red, we knew he had the X factor, right? But it was obvious that his game wasn't polished. When you compare him with a Kylian Mbappe, who went through the Monaco academy, you see where Mbappe's game is polished, and he was always going to be big because Mbappe, what he's doing at 22 was what he was doing at 17. When you look at some of the goals that he was scoring in Champions League, right? In his first season at Monaco, you knew that this player was a player who was going to be so good. A player who I think has the tools in France quickly to go off on a little tangent here. Turkey,
Ryan Cherky baller.
the next step because
Real Madrid born.
two-footed. Two-footed. The thing is, he's able to take set pieces with both feet.
Indiscipline though.
That's the issue with Turkey. It's not about his game. His game is polished, but his issue is indiscipline. The thing with Dembele is that he didn't have the discipline, and his game was still raw.
I'm trying to remember another dude name. I think he's now at what? Juventus and no, he's at Sampdoria loan from Juventus. He came through I think
A
it was
few years ago,
PSV.
hasn't improved.
Mohamed Ayatarin. He's one that dude is developed as well, but again,
yeah,
it's not because of
yes,
his
but
talent.
you know something, right? You know that he's back in the Netherlands because his father died, and then he is almost like a Adriano situation again. Lost his father. His father was the only one who could really get a hold of him. And if you realize, guys, Yatarin has fallen off the radar because in 2019, he was seen as the next big thing. Last season he didn't do anything. So even though he did go to Juventus and then was supposed to go to Sampdoria, he's now back in the Netherlands because he's saying that he might even quit football, which is a travesty because a massive talent oozes class. But sometimes, guys, the variables that are plaguing these players, they are not just football related. So I think he had a poor attitude to begin with, but I think it has been augmented by the fact that he lost his father, who was seen as being the only person who could curb his childish tendencies.
Okay. All right, so we're going to have a wrap now. I'm just going to go around and give you guys a minute to talk about whatever sporting related you want to talk about. Doesn't have to be about anything we discussed tonight. So, Robbie, your minute starts like right now.
My minute is that I'm going to take a break from training this week in my Westport United team until January to get up some more facilities and resources for next season. And it's going to start mid-January until last part of January. All right. Where the Division 1 going to be separated, where some Spanish are going to be in one group. So for them games we play at Prison Oval, Portmore we play at Ferdinita, while the other one we play there. The top two of both groups will go through along with the two best third place to form a quarterfinal. And that is my aim though. And I have a high possibility that you will see me lifting the trophy for the under 17.
All right. Remember, say, come here, big talking. I say, no, say, if I say that, I'm going to beat you. But,
Definitely.
Rod, your minute.
Quickly, cricket, Ashes, England, I think they dropped the ball. Yes, and the fact is, if you play against Australia, the pink ball, we know the pink ball, the kookaburra, because for the listeners, if they're not aware, in England they use the Dukes, in Australia they use the kookaburra ball. It doesn't do as much naturally, but on the lights, with people who can move the ball, I think they conceded too many runs because the ball too short. And I think when you look at the Australian bowling attack, Hazelwood and Cummins, I think it's an indictment that England was able to put up a better show. With those bowlers expected to be back for the third test, I think it's doom and gloom because I think they have missed their chance to make the series exciting. Because I think the manner of the defeat, guys, I think it's such I think see them winning a test, and I think they may be odds on for another whitewash to go along with what has almost been the theme when they visit down under this century. So that's basically my minute. Disappointment in the English because of how depleted Australia was
I think English is overrated though.
and the conditions that should have. Well, they are. But when you look at the factors that were prevalent, Robbie, I think that England really should have made a better fist of it. They conceded
Yeah,
too
yeah,
many
yeah,
runs,
yeah.
and I think at their time, but they were playing against. Remember, Stark guys hasn't been the bowler without the white ball. When the white ball is still a magician, but with the red ball, in this case the pink ball, he hasn't done it.
He was he
Remember that
was he
Stark
was
is
good in this game though.
one who you have a question mark beside him. Well, he was, but I'm talking about pre this game. Going into
Generally,
the
yeah,
game, there were question marks as to who that should attack would stand up. Because remember that Richardson was coming back. Michael Nisa was on debut, right? We know Cam Green can do wonders with the ball. So there was still issues around the attack, and for them to fold Meekly two times, like that, I think I'm telling that. So I think that they, if they can't make the third test competitive, they are going to get whitewash when the fifth test gets to the Belarus Oval, and that's also underlined. So that's basically my minute. Well, probably 3 minutes.
all
Well,
right.
to me, when England get whitewash, it brings me pleasure.
All right.
It's so overrated.
I just have to give shout out to my two players. Cam Green he actually got some runs in that second innings finally, and he didn't score a boundary, but his running between the
Needed
wickets
to.
was very good in that second innings.
Yes.
And big up to my boy Jerry Richardson for that fifer. He was very good in that second innings.
I think he came back. He came back well in the second innings.
Especially that delivery to get rid of Amid. That was a peach. But there's Michelle saying that my final
Yes, he
minute.
kicked on. Yes.
Michelle saying that my final minute reashes whitewash loading for England. It seems. Yes, it seems that way. Um, that's just it. But here what, guys. Remember, as of tomorrow and Wednesday, we're going to have you guys in the comment section calling. I want all of you guys to call in and vote for your Sports Frenzy Analyst of the Year.
Hold on,
Robbie.
1 minute. 1 minute. When you Fabi Frano,
Yeah.
them only take coach who are willing to be my assistant, not to overthrow me. Okay.
But guys, remember that tomorrow
pulling
and
rank.
Wednesday. Remember tomorrow is the day for you guys to call in and vote for your favorite analyst. As I keep on telling you guys, even Robbie can call in and vote for his favorite tomorrow.
Vote for
And
Ryan.
if Robbie is your favorite, you guys in the comment section, you
If
can call
Ryan.
in and vote.
Ryan, I will win.
Boss, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that. I want you guys to call in tomorrow and Wednesday and vote for your favorite Sports Frenzy analyst. With that being said, continue watching some sports. Tomorrow we know that we have EFL Cup. Arsenal is playing against Sunderland. I think Arsenal is going to whip up Sunderland. But stranger
The
things
weekend,
up.
play?
Well, again?
League Cup play the weekend?
Yeah, EFL Cup. It will be Liverpool against Leicester. Liverpool against Leicester on Wednesday. I think it's Chelsea against Brentford and Tottenham against West Ham.
Oh, I can't see Charlie then.
Let us see. But thanks to all of you guys for tuning in. Thanks to our producer Josh Collins making this possible. Thanks to Kemzo who chipped in for a bit. Big up yourself, Robbie, and big up yourself, Rowan, for being here. Until tomorrow, stay safe, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening.